The BTC Racing Line for the fans.
Hello and happy Easter to you. Welcome once again to the BTC Racing Line. Now, as we all know, we should be at Brands Hatch Indy Circuit today, but we're not. We're all still in isolation and we're all still in our homes. Thank you very much for all your reactions and all your shares, all your comments, all your likes on our last videos, whatever platform you managed to watch the podcast on. It's been brilliant to have your company and brilliant to have your company once again. So first of all, welcome to our drivers, Josh, Creasy, Tom, hello.
Hi.
First of all, happy Easter to you all.
Happy Easter to you too.
And you, mate?
I've got you one of these.
Ooh.
So, Creasy, I'm just wondering, could you catch this for me?
Yeah, go for it, mate.
Okay, ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Oh, God, son.
You got it?
Yeah, got it.
Hey!
Right. Rory, throw me up one.
Okay, luckily I've got another one. Okay, Tom, ready?
Yeah.
I've lost my one.
Hey! There we go. And it turned into a lemon. Right, now, guys, the last 14 days, how have you been? It's been 2 weeks since I last saw you all.
It's been busy. I don't know about Josh, but for me and Creasy, we've got kids, haven't we, mate? So we're full-time teachers, parents, professional tidy-uppers, cleaners.
Well, that's Jodie's job in my house, mate. I just sit on the sun lounger drinking beer most of the day.
That lemon might come in useful, though, Tom, to be honest.
Yeah, nice bit of vodka and Coke with that.
Josh, how are you?
Yeah, not bad. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. It's been I don't know about you, but it's been like a swift 2 weeks. It really has seemed to have shot by. You know, like sometimes when people say, oh, that's gone quick, hasn't it? Well, for me, it really has.
It's been a busy couple of weeks for me because I've got a business to try and keep afloat during this tough time. So it's been, I've been absolutely flat out day to day. Creasy's playing the violin. I mean, I wish I was sat at home just looking after kids. But I'm not. I'm, I've got a job, so I need to keep busy doing stuff to keep the business running. And it's a tough time. And like we said past few weeks, and everybody keeps mentioning it's tough for business owners at the minute. So it's it's not an easy time, but we just keep battling on. There's a lot of people that got it worse. So yeah, it's been an insanely busy 2 weeks for me. I think this has been my first day off. So yeah. It's been tough, but it's just the way it is.
Creasy, how have you been? By the way, loving the cap.
Yeah, mate. My Bros cap's seen a lot of attention over the last few days, so I'm hoping Matt or Luke will tune in and come down to one of the race weekends for us.
And how have you been last couple of weeks?
Yeah, all right, mate. To be fair, it's a bit of jet washing and cleaning the cars and just generally just chilling out. Lucky enough, I've got a nice garden, so I've been out in the garden with the kids quite a bit and just a bit of family time for me. And
how's the life been in the Chiltons, Tom?
Busy, mate. It's been fantastic, though. I'm really enjoying spending all this time with the kids. It's been amazing. I've got 3 boys, 6, 5, 4 years old. We let them have a sleepover last night in the lounge because we did originally think we'd go camping. And then we stood out the night before and thought, actually, it's going to be too cold in a tent. So we put them in the lounge last night for a special night. But I just love it. I'm in the garden. We've got trampoline on the bicycles. We're sort of making dens in the garden. Boys love dens. And I get a chance to sort of muck in with them. We're doing lots of picnics and barbecues. And it's just lots of fun. Like I'm a family man, when I'm not racing. And I'm absolutely loving it. And it's almost like someone prayed to the gods saying, all right, if we're in isolation, please can we have some sunshine so we can at least get in the garden, which is great.
Do you take the helicopter out, Tom, or not?
Yeah.
Or the plane? Or
yeah. With your 3 favourite races ever. Josh, would you like to start?
First podium's always a pretty good one. That was Rockingham 2015, and I came from, I think it was 14th on the grid to get on the podium in race 2. So that was a special one for me. I couldn't not mention, I mean, it was tough because I ended up not winning it, but it was the race between me and Ash in 2018 at Brands GP, final race of the season. I think we swapped place about 3 times a lap for about 6 laps. So that was a really good race. but he mugged me off and beat me to the line on the final lap. So that was always a bit sore. And then probably last season, Thruxton, we kind of took a bit of a gamble on setup. We didn't really know how it was going to pay off. And yeah, not only did we win the race, we also set a new lap record, taking it from dynamics by like 1,000th of a second. So that was nice.
Bravo to that. There we are. And I'm sure that will be commented on as well. And thank you very much as well for your comments on our podcast. So we really, really enjoyed seeing those. And over 13,000 views as well. Tom, your top three.
Hard, mate. I've had like 350 race starts. I can't remember three.
If you can, or you can skip and we'll go to Creasy and come back.
Is that in just British touring car, Tom, or is that?
That's just British touring cars. Yeah. I did like 150 in the world, but I think my first win in the British Touring Car Championship, I went from 10th to 1st at Silverstone on the old international circuit. So we actually did that hairpin, which went through to that really cool corner bridge, which I used to love. I'm so sad we don't do that corner because the touring car was just flat, bit of a snap oversteer as you hit the curb on the inside. It was really good fun to drive. But yeah, that was 10th to 1st and I was 19 years old. And I was 10th to 3rd. And then I was closing down Matt Neal and Anthony Reid because Anthony Reid was playing, Anthony Reid. He was backing everyone up on the corner and Matt Neal was getting really frustrated. He backed him up at Maggotts Beckett's and Reedy ended up taking Matt across the grass. And then it was just one of those moments where I was overtaking him where I was looking out my side windows and going, what are you two doing? Finished the race and they're hitting each other after the start-finish line because they were so cross at each other. And that's when Matt Neal, if you see a video, is grabbing Anthony Reid's helmet. It was a pretty crazy race. But my first one was a good race for me. Second race, probably Snetterton in 2005, where I did 2 wins back to back. But as you know, we have success ballast. The first win was easy. The second one was harder because you get ballast. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That hurts you. So that was a big ask for the second race. So that second one to hold, that was a big one for me. And it's something which is going to be like a big fight or something, or tricky conditions.
So we've got time for today, Tom. Thanks very much.
I think the third one. I can't think of a third one right now.
Creasy, your top three.
I've got 4.
Go for it.
All the races you've done.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah, I've got 4.
All 4 of them.
First year getting in the GRDC Cup car against a guy called Phil Ingram, winning all 3 rounds at Snetterton and then winning the championship in my first year, which was mega. I think I was the only person to do that in the GRDC Cup as well after a reverse grid, win all 3 rounds. And then I've done it again in the next year in the GT4 Ginetta Super Cup as an amateur. I think, again, I'm the only person to do that as an am, and won the championship at Silverstone. And then, obviously, the 2 British touring car races. First one at Brands, P12 from 24th on the grid in my first race. And P9 from 29th on the grid at Silverstone. So.
I mean, some nods on the head from Josh and Tom. I mean, Tom, Josh, do you wonder what would have happened if, this guy had been in it since he was, in his late teens?
Well, he put his leg out the door when he finished 12th in his first race, so God knows what would have happened.
They would be running scared. They'd be running scared.
Creasy, you
do on top of his car with his sofa and his lampshade
and the rope,
steering wheel.
Okay, now your first, your 3 race day musts. So, Josh, when it comes to a race day, what are your 3 must-haves on any given race day?
A podium.
Yeah, good answer.
I can't wait for one of them.
Decent lunch, and then I like the Q&As that we do on race day. They're good fun.
Tom, yours.
Must have a racing car with 4 wheels on it.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
I must have. I always have an isotonic drink. before I go out. I have my Cis isonic drink because that honestly helps my hydration, which keeps me in maximum performance, which is a must. My chefs, I have, and then Chris is going to go, the team has this insane chef, and ordering my food so that it's all the right amounts of proteins or carbohydrates, depending on which day it is, to fuel my body is absolutely key. And I must have a good night's sleep. You know, I've got 3 kids, and I want them to come and watch me race, but I can't have them in the same bedroom as me. I have to make sure that I sleep because I need to have as much energy as possible. So for me, it's basically energy and efficiency in my body for focusing and getting the most performance. It's not about anything else other than that for me.
Yeah, literally yours is eat, drink and sleep, basically. Yeah. Creasy, well, what about you? Your 3 race day musts.
Mine's a beer. No, it's not really. No,
it's not.
I do like make sure I'm well relaxed and I've had a good night's sleep, or chill out. But so that's one. The second one, I always speak to my wife on the radio or before I get in the car before I go out for a race. She's the last person I pretty much speak to, apart from obviously mechanics and stuff strapping me in. And the third one is just making sure I've got time to see all the fans and all the media and the marshals and spend enough time with all the public as I can.
Good for you, Creasy. You're a real crowd favourite, and I think that's why. Now, something just slightly away from racing at the moment. Josh, your 3 favourite bands or artists. Obviously, you can have some if you wish.
Favourite artists? I don't really have any favourite artists. I know that's not a great answer to the question, but I'm not too fussy on a genre of music. I just listen to anything as long as it's decent. I like some relaxing music and a bit of dance music as well. So,
mate, what about the 90s on the way to Spain?
Yeah, amazing. I know, but how could you pick one of those? Like we DJ'd, didn't we, in the car the whole way from the airport to the track, which was like 3 hours.
3 hours.
Playing all out 90s anthems, and there was some good.
Everyone was a banger, wasn't it?
I know. We had everybody singing.
It's all my kind of music. Loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, we had Bert, we had Steve singing, me and Ben up front. Yeah, it was good.
Tom, what about you then?
You couldn't pick one out of them though, could you?
No.
I'm very much like Josh. I like pretty much everything, but at the moment, I'm listening to a bit of Lewis Capaldi's on at the moment. It sounds silly, but
he always just looks like he just got out of bed, doesn't he, Lewis Capaldi? It was just sort of as if he sort of turns up and goes, "Oh, sorry, this is just what I was wearing yesterday." But here we go.
But at the moment, I'm listening to, other than my playlist on Amazon Music, I'm listening to like laid back music, which is quite cool. And I'm like doing a barbecue. But I like going on YouTube and finding like Sister Act 2, like the best songs from that, and then playing that, and all the kids are like dancing. And I like Despicable Me 2 on Amazon. It's Happy, which is Will Ferrell, I think it is. That's a good song. Just gets all the kids dancing around and jumping around. But I like Michael Jackson. I like sort of anything really. Aerosmith, you name it. Guns N' Roses. I listen to it all. But
so seriously, so far, if we were even to convert this to deserted circuit tracks, you're telling me that you'd be taking Despicable Me with you to a deserted track? He's being serious. Come on, Tom. I mean, you mentioned Michael Jackson there, but surely there must be some other artists that you would think, do you know what, if these were the only 3 I was left with on some deserted circuit somewhere.
If left with, honestly, 3 artists, it would be Queen would be 1, Michael Jackson would be 2, and 3 would be probably, would it? Third one's hard. Actually, it'd probably be Dire Straits. Would be a third one. Yeah.
Creasy, what about you? I think it's going to be quite a tough list for you.
Again, I've got 4.
Break the rules. Why not?
I love a bit of the Beatles, and I love a bit of Frank Sinatra. And but if you wanted to be a bit more modern, like Oasis, Kasabian, Stereophonics, Arctic Monkeys is my bag.
If you had to pin it down to the 3, though.
I'd say Arctic Monkeys because they're just legends. Oh, Oasis.
Yeah, you see.
Oasis.
Huh?
I think you go snow patrol. 'Cause your mates turn up.
Oh no, yeah, he's more of a fan of me than I'm a fan of him. To be fair.
Your 3 worst habits, gentlemen. Josh, we'll start with you.
My 3 worst habits. Why do I always have to go first?
Because you didn't go first last time. You were going third last time.
No, at least I get a chance to think about my answers then. My worst habits. I tell you what, I actually just carry a lot of stuff out and put it on the kitchen side and not put it in the dishwasher. Apparently that's well annoying, but I don't see why.
Yeah. What's next? Wet towels on the bed?
No. I don't know what you do on your bed, but...
We know yours, Rory, now.
That's his best habit.
That's all.
What else? I don't think I've got any bad habits. I think they're all great. They might just be annoying to other people, but I don't know.
Get stuff over.
There you go, ladies. There you go, ladies. A perfect husband. There we are. Tom, what are yours?
No, I should have been thinking, but I wasn't. My word.
Steph's there.
Apparently I clicked my fingers.
Yeah, ask her.
I clicked my fingers.
Oh, yes.
yeah.
Oh, no.
Not doing it now.
No.
My worst habits is I slurp my tea.
Yeah, and you give really long answers. That's all.
I give really long answers. I'm almost on the line there. And what else do I do, which is really annoying? When people are talking, aren't actually listening. It's like white noise. It goes in that ear and out that ear.
What, like just a second ago?
Yeah, I know exactly what that's like.
Yeah, they're my 3.
Creasy.
Slurping my tea, she gets raging up about. I got told off about that this morning, to be fair. And biting my nails. But it's worse than that because I actually spit them on the floor, which she's fuming about.
This is so honest. This is brilliant.
Yeah, so I don't like to admit it. But you get just a little bit. You think, well, there's no point going to the thing. You might as well just
swallow it
and let her hoover it up.
That's right.
Or not
outrageous.
Her, I'll hoover it up. What was the other thing? I did think of another thing I annoy her with as well. Oh, that was it. I've got like a dressing table in my bedroom, and every single night I just take my clothes off and throw them on there, so it gets piled up. And then every third day or whatever, I just I'll sort that table out. Even to the point last week, she said, "Right, that's it. We're getting rid of that dressing table. You're not having it anymore. So let's go." So.
The 3 things you've been doing more of at home since you've been in isolation. Now, Josh, I know you've been working a lot, so you haven't been at home that much.
Doing more work than I'd normally do because everybody else is furloughed, so I've got to do all the work, which is terrible.
Tom, what about you? Are there 3 things that you're doing more of? I mean, being a dad by the sounds of things.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I love in every second of it. I'm absolutely loving it. But I'm doing more barbecues than I've ever done before. I've done 4 so far this week. Going to do another one this afternoon. That involves cleaning the barbecue. So I'm also cleaning the barbecue a lot more. So that's 2 things.
That's the thing. It took me 2 hours the other day to do mine.
I'm doing more shopping.
Don't bother cleaning them.
Because we're getting through so much food. And I try and do 1 food shop a week because we were in isolation. But I fill up a giant trolley to the top. That doesn't last me a week. So I've still got to go out again and again to get other bits. So yeah, it's barbecuing, it's more cooking, it's more arts and crafts for kids, more telling them off because they're getting, they're staying inside a lot. So yeah, that's it really.
Creasy, 3 things that you've been doing more of in isolation.
Well, staying on the barbecue theme, I've done a lot of them, to be fair, but I had a shocker because when I moved house in November, I thought, my brother-in-law moved as well, and I thought, do you know what? I had a massive barbecue, really big gas one, like the box. Oh, sorry. And I basically, I gave it to him, and obviously I didn't think about it, and then the weather's all of a sudden got nice and isolation, so I thought, when am I going to get a barbecue from? Because I don't really like going shopping at the minute because it's a bit dangerous for me. So I went over to my camper, which is in storage, so I've got a barbecue, it's about this big, and I've been cooking on that. But the best thing about it, Tom, is all you do is empty the coal and then you just set it on fire, burn it all off again, and don't even have to wash it.
I think Tom's talking about a gas one, though. You're not, Tom.
No, I've got a coal one, and the problem is it's a few years old, and the bottom bit we should twist off with all the
yeah,
now rusty. So I'm having to pick up the whole barbecue and turn it upside down. It goes everywhere. So it's
definitely tastes better having a coal barbecue than a gas barbecue.
It does, yeah. I agree.
The other thing I've been doing, obviously spending a lot of time with the kids, a lot more than what I normally do, which is driving me around the bend. And the other thing I've been doing is more fitness, believe it or not. Been out running. I've done 6 mile run the other day, which was quite incredible.
Yeah, bravo to that. Very good.
Never run that far in my life.
I know, it's like me and my walking. I mean, I'd normally walk my dog anyway, but because I've been following it on an app, I clocked over 33 miles last week, 50k or something in 1 week. So,
wow.
It's amazing what you can cook up. Now, just to finish then on our section of threes before we move on to other things, but 3 things that racing has taught you that is useful in daily life.
Treat others as you want to be treated. So if somebody hits somebody, they're going to hit you back. And that is the same on track and off track. And if you treat somebody with respect on the track and you give them a millimetre, they'll give you a millimetre next time. And it's all, you can all be perfect. So I think respect is a big one. Number 2, I would say, if you're not first, you're last, and that's never a thing. Number 3, be kind. I'm going to come back to that again, like respect, but be kind. So like when the fans come up to me and they want a selfie or an autograph,
yeah,
as much time as I possibly can before I've got to go to a briefing or I've got to go somewhere or go racing.
Yeah, it's really good. Creasy, what about you? What was the 3 things racing's taught you that are useful in your everyday life?
Learning, mate, for me. Like, number 1 was learning. Like, I learn every day. I listen to these guys and Bert and Ben and all my previous years. Like Nathan Freak was a massive influential person. He knew his stuff about racing. He's a good driver, and he was he was a good bloke all round, to be fair, and he taught me a lot. Ben Highland in my first year, they all taught me everything that I sort of know, and I've sort of gone through the roof with learning, so I'm still learning all the time, and it sort of learning is listening as well, so you listen to a lot more people and stuff, but Jodie has a go at me all the time because I listen to everybody else, but I don't listen to her, so she says. Discipline. I think discipline from racing. You've got to pick your moments and pick your battles, and so you can use that a lot at home and in normal life. And again, just what Tom's saying, just being kind and having time for people.
Josh, the 3 things that racing has taught you that's useful in everyday life.
One of the biggest things, I think, is setting your mind to something and achieving it, because actually when you're racing, it's very easy to sit back and go, oh, do you know what? I've not quite got the talent that he's got, or I've not quite got the ability. But if you put your mind to it and you just keep pushing through and just stay dedicated, you can actually get on to achieve those goals. So that's a big one. There's no reason why anybody, from the way I look at it on that touring car grid, there's nobody there that is a better person. You just apply yourself and you can just chip away and achieve what you want to achieve by setting your mind to it. No other reason. So that's an important one, and that carries over in everyday life. There's no reason why you can't go on and do anything you want to do, providing you just apply yourself properly. So that's a big one. I think another one is learning to control aggression, because I think it's a big one. Certainly when you're in a race car, there's no place for just like gun-ho aggression or just being erratic. You have to be able to control your own anger and your own personality to make sure that you don't do anything that's detrimental. And I think once you learn to control your own personality that way, you can then go on to do things and not act with emotion again in everyday life. You can look at things methodically. So again, I think that's really, really good. And also appreciation, because you never know where you're going to go. Touring cars for me was always a bit too far. I never thought I was going to get there. And, you know, you get to these stages and you keep going one by one, and then you learn to really appreciate the path you've gone and the way that other people kind of appreciate what you've managed to achieve as well. So those are my three.
Good answers.
Well, you see, Josh, and that's what got you those podiums and those wins last season. I mean, bravo to those answers, gentlemen. I mean, come on. I mean, how honest and gentle. Look at the clapping from Creasy and Tom. It's incredible. Yeah, I mean, look at this. Should be at Brands Hatch today. I mean, racing and Brands Hatch for me are kind of just so synonymous and so linked together. What do you all miss about a day that should have been like today, Josh?
Oh, just miss the racing. Miss the atmosphere, the whole, you know, Brands Indy specifically is a great place to be because it's in a valley. You know, you get the real sense of the atmosphere sitting on that grid with the whole bank of people up on the left-hand side. It's just the whole event is you know, when you finish the season, you're kind of happy to take a bit of a break and regroup. But this has obviously gone on so long now that you really do miss that whole environment. So it is a shame, but you know, at least the weather's nice and we can stay home.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a great track as well. You must have that feeling of, you know, I am at Brands Hatch. You know, I'm at somewhere that's got so much history. There's so many sort of ghosts flying around of all the historical things that have happened, and even sort of back in the GP days and things like that. Tom, how do you feel whenever you're at Brands? You know, you must be missing it.
I love Brands Hatch. It's actually written down that I want some of my ashes spread around Brands Hatch when I die. Because I love it.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's a path down in Cornwall, which I really like, between Rock and Damer Bay, and a bit at Brands Hatch, and if you can sneak it in the suitcase, a bit in Barbados, the family get a holiday. That's where I want to be spread. It's a bit doom and gloom, that, isn't it? But I love Brands, my favourite place. I love the circuit itself. I like everyone who works there. I've worked there a lot before when I ran my own company, doing hot laps for my GTR. I love the fans there. It's my local circuit. It's 25 minutes away from my house in Reigate, and I've had lots of success there. I've had many podiums and a few wins and fastest laps around the Indy circuit, fastest laps around the GP circuit. There's nothing I dislike about Brands Hatch. I love all of it. And I was thinking in my head where I've qualified today when we're racing for round 2. I was thinking it probably would have been around 14th because I got 60 kilos lead in the car after the round before. It doesn't continue. That's how you have to think, isn't it? And what would happen after race 1? Which race would I choose for the soft tyre? And I've been thinking about that this morning, actually, about what I'd be doing and how the racing would pan out and which teams would be on what weight, what tyres they'd choose. And I've been doing all that analysis this morning in my head. Because I'm in the zone. In my mind, I'm at Brands Hatch. My calendar switches on my phone in the morning. Says,
"Yeah, mine was the same."
Brands Hatch. You know, yeah. I want to get my racing overalls now to do this, to get in the zone of this is our race weekend. But I'm gutted we still got another few months to wait potentially. So it's horrible, mate. I just want to be there. I miss the fans, the atmosphere, and I hate going slowly. I like going fast, and the fastest I can go is about 40 miles an hour down to Tesco's. You know, I can't go fast. It's killing me. I hate it.
Yeah, Creasy, what about you? Because, you know, as I said, Brands Hatch for me, it was the GP circuit when I was, you know, it was the first one I can remember watching on the telly back in the GP days. I mean, for me, it's my favourite. There's just something about standing there and being there and saying to yourself, I am at Brands Hatch.
Yeah, it's iconic, isn't it, in the place itself? But, you know, to be honest with you, I never really liked it. I didn't really, I love the place. I've been watching racing there for years, but when I raced the Jeanette around it, I just didn't have quite big enough balls to go flat out around the back. And you really need it there. It's probably the most place on the calendar. I don't know if the boys would agree. You've got to be fully committed out the back on the GP. But yeah, we had 300 people there last year supporting me. Do you know what I mean? My local track. I'm a Kent boy. You know, I grew up. I was born. My garden used to back onto Brands Hatch when I was a kid, and yeah, we got a lot of special memories up there, and and a lot of friends and family that way as well. So it's a great place. But to be honest, I have got to grips with it more in a touring car than I have in the Ginettas.
What a day we would have had as well. I mean, as Josh was saying earlier, the weather's so glorious, and it's Easter Sunday, and it's a bank holiday for everyone. The crowds would have been there, etc. Oh, we can only literally just stop for a moment. Now, before we do go, one thing I think we really do need to talk about is the news that came through literally as we were starting this podcast today, that the legend Sterling Moss had passed away aged 90. What an incredible life. Won 212 of his 529 wins. Now, I don't know if any of you were ever fortunate enough to meet Sir Sterling, or to perhaps even have a chat with him. I think he walked past me once at Goodwood and obviously didn't recognise me. I mean, why would he? But literally, he is the word legend, surely.
Absolutely. He's a hero. He's the guy. My dad said to me this morning in our family WhatsApp group, he said, if we ever got caught speeding when we were younger, the answer was always, do you think you're Sterling Moss?
Yeah, that's right. That's the one I grew up with as well. Exactly. Yeah. And that's, again, it's amazing how someone's sort of, record and legend can sort of spread out off into other areas of life. Tom, did you ever meet him?
It's under very unusual circumstances, but it was actually when we were getting changed in the changing room at sort of Goodwood Revival. He's out there to go and do his his driving, and I'm racing as well. And you have to get dressed at some point into your racing overalls, but his racing overalls are very different from mine, and my helmet's very different from his. Mine's actually to genuinely protect my body and my head from an accident and fire. Whereas Sir Sterling Moss, he was allowed to turn up with a thin leather cap and still race the car, which, if he crashed, he would hit his head and potentially die straight away. But because he'd been doing it all his life, they were like, well, you have your own set of rules. You can actually go out with your leather cap on, and everyone else has thick, full-blown, FIA homologated helmets. But it was a very, very brief time I met him, but he's an absolute gentleman, legend. And everyone will remember him, and it's an absolute shame that he's died today on Easter Sunday.
Josh, did you ever meet Sir Sterling?
I've been at events where he'd been there. Never actually met and had a chat with him properly. But yeah, just like Tom says, he's obviously an iconic name in motorsport, and it's obviously very sad that he's passed away. But it's not really a lot else I can really add to that, but he obviously thoughts with his family at this time.
Absolutely. I mean, 90 years old as well, Creasy. I mean, you'd be happy if you got to 90, surely.
Yeah, I mean, it's to be fair, I mean, what a life he's lived, and but it's just so sad because obviously sitting at home and watching the news every day, and you've got people like famous people dying and other people dying around the world, and it's just it's shocking. And to be fair, when I read that this morning, sort of just takes me back to the legends like John Surtees, who gave me my step into racing. He's very much similar sort of character to that, and it made me think of John this morning. I did see Sterling Moss at the British Grand Prix. I never got to speak to him, but yeah, I see him there a few times when I've been to the British Grand Prix.
Yeah, he always seemed to have a lot of time for the fans, and always seemed like a gentleman as well. A gentleman and a gentleman whenever I particularly saw him at the Festival of Speed. But a round of applause, I think, for Sir Sterling Moss, I think, from us. What a legend, and we certainly salute him. Right, so to finish on a happier note then, just before we go, we will be back in a fortnight's time. But Josh, we need to know how Alan's doing, the cat.
He's good. He's enjoying the sun, sleeping in fields. That's what he's like. He's not attacked me recently, which is great. So I'm pleased about that. But yeah, he's just popped out. He just popped in, ate some stuff, had a little scratch on the sofa, which I tried to get him to stop doing, and he walked outside and he's gone off to sleep in the sun.
And he's no idea about his newfound fame.
He is just livid that people are around more than usual, because he usually just does what he wants. So yeah, he's a little bit livid that Steph's been around more, and but the dog's well happy about it, so it's fine.
Well, Alan, you need to keep going, my friends, and we will check in on Alan the cat, Alan Meow, as we've been calling him, in a fortnight's time when we're back for the next podcast. In between time, if you would like to leave your questions for our drivers, we'd love to hear them. On the next podcast in a fortnight's time, we'll do a Q&A as kind of remotely as we can, in the sense that if you can put your questions on any of our social media platforms, we'll collate those and ask a selection of those to our drivers in a fortnight's time, when we would have been at Silverstone. But from me, myself, Rory McAllister, from our three drivers, Tom Chilton, Josh Cook, and Michael Crees, and from Brands Hatch Indy, which is where we should have been. Gentlemen, goodbye. Look after yourselves. I'll speak to you very, very soon. Thanks for today.
Cheers. Cheers. Thank you. Bye.
This has been the BTC Racing Line. We'll be back in a fortnight's time. Thank you very much for listening or watching, whatever you've been doing on this particular platform. Do leave your questions. Keep your comments coming. Do keep sharing as well. It's great to have you as part of our team and part of the BTC Racing family. So for myself, Rory McAllister, and all of our drivers, including our bits of fruit, happy Easter to you all, and we'll see you next time.
The BTC Racing Line for the fans.